Okay, this is the glorious, my 90-second effort at what a paper template looks like. So, but this is a judgment-free zone, as scientific gatherings usually are. The basic structure for the workshop summary paper that I thought of is just following the sections that we've had, obviously. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions plus sections, sorry, plus a part about exploration concepts. I'll just start from the end because that's the only one I actually wrote some bullet points that make sense. For example, for exploration concept subsections, we want to talk about where do we go from here. Remember, it's looking forward, right? So where do we go from here? What tools do we need to get there? And these tools can be financial tools, hardware tools, computational tools. This is basically a variation of Alan's point. How do we apply pressure? Pressure can be how do we make this a community thing? For example, the idea of targeting both OPEG and SBAG, because this really is something that it's a small body that lies in the outer solar system. So there are opportunities that a lot of OPEG, outer planetary advisory group, yeah. Assessment. Sorry, yes, you're right. So the outer planet assessment group will be interested in as well. So trying to create that kind of pressure on selection agencies. We mentioned NASA. Henry brought up the wonderful backdoor, basically knocking on the doors of other nations who want to explore space and tell them, you give me money, I give you concept. Other pressure vehicles we can think of, you can pick your favorite congressperson and go talk to them once a month about centaurs. I'm sure it will go over beautifully. But not as a joke. The Planetary Society has been doing campaigns targeted at their own projects or interests that they hold as high priority. And they have been at least semi-successful in the sense of getting a lot of traction, getting a lot of people interested, and getting even some people that have a say to be part of their cause. So we can think about that, these things, what vehicles are needed. Obviously, not all of them will succeed, not all of them are required, but we can think about what's needed for these pressure efforts. Sorry. Just quickly going through this. So there's an introduction, obviously what's the context, and I'm just following the fact that we had 2 really great overview talks. So context for the Centaur population, we look at their dynamical context and their observational context, telling us where did they come from, what are they doing in their orbits, and how the heck can we actually pick all this up. And obviously a kind of run through over the strategic knowledge gaps, the word, a nice word of the day. We can call them SKGs. It's a good acronym, right? Never heard it used. Mapping what the knowledge gaps are that we want to fill, or that we would like to have an approach to solving, and then working through what we discussed about activity. So quiescent outbursts, the dust-gas correlation, jet shapes. Sorry, we haven't really mentioned solar-wind interaction. I was somewhat alluded to in Chris's radiation chemistry points, but we can also think about particle interaction in the outer solar system and what they do to the surfaces of Centaur objects that are in transition and are sometimes active, sometimes inactive. For the structure, strength, density, porosity, the shape effects, subsurface layering, and I'm probably forgetting 15 other things that we should be thinking of about structure. The composition, we want to look at the dust, we want to look at the volatiles, we want to look at effective coma speciation, and perhaps we have not mentioned that during these 2 days, but what could be the noble gas content in Centaurs? How can we measure that? And what can that tell us? Yeah, it's hard. But remember, this is, can we do that? Not, can I do that today with what I have, but can we do that as a community effort in the next 5, 10, 15 years? And what do we need to do to get to that point? In terms of dynamics, and kind of thinking about two separate subsections there. One is the orbital dynamics that affects the activity. So maybe repeated transitions into the Jupiter family region and out of the Jupiter family region. Maybe some sort of other interactions that can promote activity. And the other part is rigid body dynamics. The interaction of rotation states in binary systems, tidal forcing, things like that. That relates to rotation state, uniqueness of orbits, raising again Michelle's point that I really like for us to kind of delve into for the definition of a Centaur. There was a really good point about what is the integration timescale that we need as sort of a hallmark of distinguishing if it is a Centaur or not. Maybe you can use that as a diagnostic to maybe mature beyond just a dynamical grouping based on a tisserand parameter, which is also which is a changing parameter in a transient population. Orbital history and lifetime, obviously, and I will include here, and with the dynamics and the rigid body dynamics, the idea of the rings and secondaries. The great point that Rodrigo brought in his talk about how the surface structure, surface topography affects through rigid body interaction with the rings, can affect their dynamics, can affect their stability. Last subsection here is observations or surveys. I didn't take a stab at that, but I'm sure many other here can take a much quicker stab at that than me. Also, I ran out of time, and my dog ate my homework. So that's the general structure. It's not set in stone. It's set in Google Doc, which means that it's fluidic. We can change the structure. This is a stepping off template. What we would like to do is have this template and have the outstanding questions that we've discussed in the high priority cases. Here we go, high priority questions for Centaur activity. We went through we have 16 questions here. We have high priority questions for the observations and the future assets. There are some questions here that are maybe medium priority or not. So this is time to get assignments going. First cut is you can raise your hand and pick a specific subsection or specific topic. For example, Mike Kelly wants to be a polarimeter in the next Halloween. I'm just kidding. Send me a picture then. So yeah, that can be a subsection of your favorite observing instrument for Halloween. But for example, you can pick up a favorite section, subsection, topic, and start working on it. The expectation here is that we're not going to write something fully fledged in a matter of 45 minutes, but a straw man, bullet points that we can then arrange and have post-workshop, have people contributing small snippets of text, collecting them into a... Who's the audience? Sorry?
I'm sorry, I'm late. But
yeah.
Who's the audience? Who's
us and people online.
No.
Oh, the audience for the paper?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the paper is gonna be compiled and put on archive. It will go into a journal of liking, which is an open question again. I'm thinking with something like Space Science Reviews, but or PASP. Yeah, Maria had.
It's not deliverable to NASA or NSF.
No, it's too big.
No, because we didn't get any funding from their program, so
Okay, I understand.
Unfortunately. I would have liked that timeline. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Checking into the station slowly. Yeah, so the idea is to eventually have a paper. We're not going to write it in the next 45 minutes. Getting kind of straw man structures for the different sections would be nice. If people volunteer to write blocks of text for specific points within these sections. Sorry. Within these sections, that'd be great. And we need a hierarchy of coordination. And so this is where, a third of our sock is gone. So we have 2/3 of our sock here. Henry, raise your hand. Kelsey. So Jan is the third person.
I think y'all went to class.
I think, yeah, no, yeah, of course.
So we're gonna put them in charge of individual sessions?
Yeah, so
Sections?
yeah, so what I like from the SOC people is to help us in divvying out the assignments and picking them back again. So you'll have responsibility for larger parts of text, but not everything. So nothing is meant to be overwhelming.
It might be able to take advantage of spreading out in the room. I don't have a mic.
Oh, you do.
It might help to spread out in this area in the room and have people like, let's say Kelsey, and then people want to work on the same topic with Kelsey around her and she types notes, and then someone goes with Henry.
Or other people can type notes, not just Kelsey.
Right, but I mean,
I'm not gonna take notes.
and then, but you'd be leading the discussion and then a couple of others. And you could even go in another room if you want a little bit more quiet.
Yeah.
As far as the people online, I think you're going to need to email contributions.
Yes, for people online, pick the favorite section and the from discussion we had in the last 2 days. I will also we will also send out the document with the high priority questions we discussed, and for the people online, you can start contributing bits of text.
Did you email that already?
No.
Okay.
You can email these to. Actually, hold on to them. I will ask Survey to give us an upload link for that. That would be better.
Okay.
Yes, Kelsey.
Oh, sorry, just since I was out from the very beginning of this, we haven't assigned.
Here, Kelsey.
Oh,
No.
We haven't assigned SOC leaders yet
No.
to a section.
No.
Okay.
No.
Are we going to do that shortly or?
Yes.
Okay, just check.
All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 6. Yes, we have 6. So there's activity, structure, composition, dynamics, observations, and exploration concepts. Yes, Chris. In them, I'm not. Yeah, I don't. You can argue with me and win. My initial point of view is having the lab work be part of the different sections, not a section on its own, because we want to summarize the roots of activity and the importance of the Centaur population, and a section that tells me lab work seems to me a bit unnatural. But you can champion something else, and I will agree. Yes.
Yeah, along those lines.
I'm sorry. We had
Go for it.
Two comments.
on-
Two comments. The first one from Joanna. Are you going to share the Google Doc with participants to contribute?
Yes.
Not right now.
Okay. And this.
Yeah, I don't want 20 people editing the same Google Doc.
Okay, got it.
Becomes a mess.
Yeah, I might say, it
Yeah.
might make more sense for Julie and Chris and people interested in lab to actually put all their ideas at once, and then we can disperse it.
And then-
For having a heading for lab work as well.
Okay.
To me, it's at the same level as observations.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay. We just had another comment on
Yeah, and the second one from Mattia. In my case, I have already published recently one at MNRAS, but I can think to a new one and contribute if you'd like. And then they provide the list, or I'm sorry, the link to the journal article. And then, so in case of collaborations, please contact me. I have to go. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yes. If you have to go, you have to go.
But that's in the group chat, so if
yeah.
you want to reference that later.
Yeah. Okay. So I hear the first room-wide suggestion is you want lab work section.
Yeah, how about Chris
Or
and
it-
Julie?
No. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, whether it's its own section or combined with observations, they're kind of the same thing.
Okay.
So
So right now I'll just call it lab work, for lack of a better.
We're gonna edit a lot.
Yeah.
Based on what we get.
I mean, for lack of a better term right now. And so it'll have to do with, just generally, I'll call it mechanics, thermodynamics.
Chemistry.
Sorry?
Chemistry?
Radiation chemistry? Okay.
Materials science. We actually have a lot in questions.
Yeah.
So you can turn it over to them and let them.
Yeah, I'm just stepping up. This is not set. This is not.
Do you want to put their names?
You have a section like that, and then you can divide it into the other one.
Yeah.
Too, but just
Ah.
as far as like trying to write it into those sections, it's really hard.
Oh, fair enough. See, we're communicating. All right. 12. All right. Activity and structure.
Structure. Gail, can I suggest we put the names next to people who want to do lab work? and then-
Oh yeah. Sorry, that's a good suggestion as well. So lab work.
Chris, Julie, who else? You what?
We need more than just the sock. Remember,
Yeah,
it says
I
more.
know, yeah, sure.
Just, so you don't have to be a sock to claim a section.
And who else wants to write with lab?
So remember, this is not, the point here is not you, and I'm looking at Julie and Chris. The point is not for a lab person to describe his setup and his results. So other people who do not do lab work right now can join the effort by saying, here are several important measurements that we need from the lab.
I volunteer, Jordan.
I mean, like.
Yeah, it's written.
I'm
That's
not
it.
allowed in laboratories where it
No, Jordan, it's not for you to do the experiment. It's for you to tell them what you want. You're very good at that.
On there too, because he knows this better.
What?
You should go on that one too.
Sure. Bus. Okay. All right. Who's going to help Kelsey with structures stuff? Rodrigo. Good.
Yeah, I would like to know the density particular for bigger.
So can one be in there?
Taylor?
Yeah.
Probably that's where I go. I think.
Structure.
I want in there too. Yay.
Sorry, I missed.
Can I be in two groups?
Yeah.
Estella?
You can be in all. You want to be in the structure as well. Okay. Good. Activity, Henry.
Yeah, sure.
Who wants to help Henry talk about unfortunate stuff? Good. So we have Charles.
Yeah.
Mike, Amanda.
yeah, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Someone brings it
In the room.
Huh? Oh, Matthew, sorry. He swears
Oh,
out.
yeah. I'll put Newt in there.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, before you get away from structure, can you just,
Where?
structure?
Oh, okay.
Actually, the only mic.
Yeah.
That is weird.
There's that.
Yeah.
I will assign Jan to composition because he's actually done a fair bit of work on that for comics.
Sounds good.
Who's going to help Jan and Chris talk about the dust, volatile properties? Matthew. See, I focused on you not right now. Laura?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dan would like to join activity. Did you already get that?
No, I'm not looking at the chat. Sorry, Cody? One second. Okay. Oh, okay. So you have Cody doing it.
Yeah.
Olga, composition?
I'm gonna volunteer Sylvia for the pop-up.
Who's involved in all of this?
She is. She called me.
Sylvia?
Yeah.
Sylvia for the composition? Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Don't worry about it.
It's like, oh,
No.
look
She
at
said.
that.
She's an I.
She's an Irish.
S-I.
No Y.
L.
What? Oh,
Wrong.
yes. Okay. Important thing is to get an OP. Yeah.
First from Damia, activity.
Activity.
Yes. And then from Dan Voice, I'd like to join Henry for activity. And then,
Can you put Noonan on activity?
yeah, actually Noonan just said I'd also like to be added to the
Who,
activity.
sorry? Noonan.
Yeah. So that should be Damia, Dan, and John.
Damia is with a Y.
Damia is with a Y.
Actually, just.
I can't tell you how many times Starbucks got my name wrong. There's 3 letters in my name. This is judging for you. Okay. I think.
There's only 2.
Sorry? In Hebrew? Yeah, there's only 2. And if I don't speak, there's none. All right. So for the dynamics part, I figured you would. Michelle, are you still online?
Yeah, I don't fear.
Okay, I'm going to tentatively involve Michelle in that because I want to delve into that point that we raised that is connected to the to the activity to the definition of Centaur. Sorry. So I'm going to do that and probably volunteer myself. Yes. Sorry? I will throw Jenny into that. Because I wrote myself, I'm going to do way too much, as Jenny's going to take my place.
As well as Damia, too.
Oh, yes. Cat will be there. Yeah. I'm not even writing it. Because
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So there's evidence that she volunteered. Yes, Cody.
Yeah, for dynamics. And then Rosita said I could also contribute to dynamics/rotation.
Right, for the rigid body rotation, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's Rosita.
Rosita, right?
Yep.
Okay.
This is fun. Say your name. It's on the screen.
Okay. We need some people to help with the observations and surveys. Oops. Is that okay? Everybody knows? You don't need to write Jane. Amanda. Joanna?
Matthew,
Sorry?
Matthew, Joanna, Henry, Walter.
Are they volunteering or is Jordan just reading off?
You know better than
Mike, just read in the room. Mike.
Mike, yeah.
Joanna did volunteer online.
I'd also like to volunteer, John. Oh,
Yes. Yeah, yes.
Actually, what you should do is send him a copy of this with John as the only person on campus.
So Yami voted.
Can I ask a question about
Yes.
who here can perhaps provide some geological context for activity? I think that's something I don't.
Kelsey?
Hey.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, one second. I understand. It sounds like a lot. We're all overbooked. The point here is we want to have, if we want to have, I'll put it like this because this is the way I like to present things. If we want to have a summary paper of this workshop that becomes a white paper, that becomes it's called a stance paper, right? This is what we tell the community we want to have now and going to the future in order to get the Centaur question nailed down. Then we need to do this. Everybody's overtaxed. I know. I'm not and that's why I'm not saying we'll hit the Astro 2020 survey deadline, which is in 2.5 days. Yes, Kelsey. Just for the.
If I missed it, what was the deadline? Was there one
Monday.
No,
before I volunteer?
no. There's no deadline for it. Yeah.
I'll get on it.
Create a deadline though, because
Otherwise,
function.
Yeah.
There's no deadline. There's no deadline for it, and again, this is a discussion that can be made. I'm a bit hesitant to right now just put a deadline
random date
for it because it's
So
it'll scare me off.
yeah, that's fair. One more quick question. For planetary decadal, it's not too late.
That 2023 one.
Yeah, but people are already writing white
Yes,
papers
yes,
for it.
yes.
But in general, it's helpful for that particular type of white paper to be not super long
Yes,
and have some pretty pictures in it.
I agree.
So maybe we can just take a subset of this and
Definitely.
okay.
Definitely. So this is meant to be a summary kind of white paper that we can put up on archive,
Yeah.
maybe
Actually
science
submit
reviews
to
or
a
pass.
journal.
And that can be, if you want to use the word, it can be citable, but it can also be useful.
Yeah.
For a decadal contribution, it has to be much shorter, prettier, and simplified.
Yeah.
We can't just have a grocery list of what we want for the next LSST to do or the next
Yeah.
major lab setup.
Okay. Well, in general, then.
But yes,
that's
that point.
the only thing I was keeping in mind, but doesn't need to be soon.
I don't remember what the deadline for that is.
It's basically whenever between now and like a year from now would probably be good.
But Gerbs is.
Yeah.
Can you pass him the microphone because he's going to say something everybody's going to hate.
Yeah, it's great. Deadline everyone hates. Maybe we should have this. When is the next? I don't know when the next OPEG is, but I know the next SBAG is going to be probably June something. It would be good, if maybe someone, one of the SOC or one of the individuals present or volunteer to present the results of this workshop.
Just to let you know, a standing offer from the SBAC chair that we can send somebody.
Perfect. Okay.
So
perfect. But that might be a good date to kind of have something.
I think. Sorry. I think Sean has.
Standing. Yeah. There's a standing offer from Tim Swindle to present something at SBAG. Yep.
What does?
End of June. I think it's the end of June.
Oh, yeah. OPEG's late April.
So late April is way out. There's no way we can do that. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be realistic, and we're all taxed. And April is time for several big deadlines to come in. And right after April, there are several big deadlines that are coming in. So we need to be realistic.
If OPEG doesn't conflict with prior engagement, I'm happy to present some kind of a overview that's informed by the SOC.
So can you just pass it to Walt, because I just tell him before you throw it.
What am I supposed to say here?
I don't know what is a standing invitation. What does that mean?
Basically, Tim said that he would put on the agenda somebody to talk about the Centaurs.
Okay.
At the next meeting.
And that's supposed to be June?
I don't know. I was just looking on the page. It doesn't have the next meeting. The last one was just a month ago. So it's probably June.
So the 2018 was mid-June.
But I'll just tell Tim to go ahead and put it on.
I think at the very least by that time, we can present a non-final summary of the workshop. I mean, we can summarize the workshop in order to present it at SBAG.
Mhm.
I'm not sure we can present a finalized version of a white paper by then. But I understand GURBS's deadline. So we have a standing deadline in June. And if you have a problem with it, I can give you GURBS's email.
Now that you've done, James.
Oh, he goes by Jim.
Jimmy?
Never.
Wow, we're now reverting to calling names. Okay, this no, actually calling names.
Walter.
Okay, I think we have a general structure. I'm not sure if all of you are on different things.
Don't you have more topics?
You still have a couple of topics you haven't done.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Keep going. There you go.
Oh, sorry, you had the exploration concept. Yes, sorry.
Sean.
Walter, Sean, and Ellen.
And since this is a summary, this is sort of a summary section, kind of linchpinning the whole paper. I'm going to put all the SOC, Maria, and myself as well.
Okay.
Because that needs to close the loop on the whole paper. I don't want to volunteer people who are not in the room, so.
I'll do it, Ellen.
I think
I don't want to volunteer people who are not in the room. Usually not fair. Yeah, but yeah, you said you will do it. So. I have an email from him that says he will do things. I have it written. Yes, John.
Can you add me to the lab too?
Yes, of course.
Nothing else on my mind. So on. That must be the Celtic spelling.
I'm willing to do this though. That's for you, Jordan. Okay? Okay.
I typed my own name that way a million times by going too quick.
Oh, yeah.
What? Did I do it wrong?
Go back up. Yeah.
Oh,
That's my evil name from Dungeons and Dragons.
that is a Celtic spelling.
okay. Sahan will help with lab work. Okay.
Roll for initiative.
There was an introduction section, right?
Yes. Sorry. Everybody can help with the introduction. I didn't assign it now because this kind of seemed like something you write at the end rather than at the beginning. Yes, Estelle.
Add me the observation.
Yes.
That was your email.
That was racing? Yeah.
Right. Ellen says.
Okay. Scrolling. I think online people are chatting, but.
The expiration concept is that, but predetermine that for the side, basically.
No.
Okay,
No,
Is Rosita already on observations?
Is Rosita on observations? No. Yes. That was the input from the checkbox system flushing? Okay.
Where did we have the rings?
What?
The rings?
What about them?
They're in dynamics.
They're in dynamics. They're in
I can feel that.
sorry?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, the rings don't, what's written here again, it doesn't mean that the rings have to stay in the section. We can make a good point for the rings being also part of structure.
Gal.
Yeah.
Gal.
Yes.
If I make a suggestion, instead of including the rings and secondaries under dynamics, although I see the point about orbits for those things, but you might actually want a subgroup dedicated exclusively to environment.
Yeah. So I would actually leave it here. People involved in different sections can do whatever kind of walking cycle they want with it. I agree, but so I'll just put like a minute of rant about that. Rings and secondaries are important for orbital dynamics. They're important for the rigid body dynamics. They're important for the environment. If they're supported by activity, they're important to understand the outburst and and longevity of activity. So that's just an example of a subtopic that can actually go in most of them, right? There's probably a lot of observational work dedicated to getting the rings, like from what Estella showed in her talk, that should be put in there as well for us to understand the statistics of rings around small bodies. And so the fact that it's mentioned in that section doesn't exclude it from other sections. Obviously, noble gases will be excluded from a section on dynamics, although it doesn't have to. But okay, yeah. Good suggestion, but I'm pushing you. Yes.
For the writing process, probably different groups will share or would like to share references.
Yes.
I'm not sure how, but maybe we could establish
Primary.
a good way to
A primary in that group.
to share references.
References?
References.
Oh, yes.
In a clean way.
Yes. So I return it to the room. One option is to Google Doc everything. Another option, if we want to share references and sometimes, exactly kind of rings should go here, but they should also go there. What can we say here that we don't say there? There's an option for a Slack channel, which I know some people are nodding like, no, not another one to my ever-growing list of Slack channels that I never read. Henry agrees. That was a question mark at the end.
Yeah, just don't email me.
Yes, ideas, preferences.
It doesn't work as well as Google Docs, but it references much better.
You gotta pay for that.
Yeah, if you have a large collaboration, you have to pay for it.
But there's a comment function and a chat function in Google Docs. It's not as organized.
Yeah, I'd like to raise a different idea. If we all edit similar Google Docs, we go insane. And so you can email Mike Kelly. Kidding. But I'd like to raise the idea of primaries for sections and subsections, because then they can grab several contributions and put them in a single document. And then, I mean, if you're going to start getting, let's say, even this dynamics group, which is relatively smaller in terms of how many people. So right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, okay? They don't have to sit together and write stuff. You might get 8 snippets of text on the same document, and it's sometimes difficult to follow who's doing what.
I mean, if it does be the same Google Doc, and then people just write their own section down below, and then the primary just kind of merges it.
I agree completely. But I would like this to be our effort. So a primary should be identified for these groups, and they can do the editing work on these documents, and these documents can go into the main document, which will again be edited together.
So each group has their own.
Little primary, yeah.
And then all of those get put together.
Yes, Yes, and the groups are allowed to talk to each other, obviously, through Slack or through Mike Kelly's email.
So we have multiple Google Docs, or it's like whatever each group decides to do.
Yeah.
And then forward everything.
And in the main, sorry, yeah, forward everything. Yeah. The bottom line when we leave this room is you forward everything.
Yeah. That sounds great. Mike Kelly at NASA headquarters.
Well played. Well played. Okay. Any questions?
Or the group is going to identify primaries again?
The group. I don't want to be a dictator. If you let me be a dictator, I can do that. But I don't mind doing that, telling you who's the primary. But
So we're supposed to do that within the group?
Yeah. If you want, I can do that. Sure, no problem. Huh?
Well, so I guess someone still needs to be the one who says who's going to be the lead, right? I'm having to email all the people on structure and say who's going to be the lead. I guess is what I'm just trying to figure out what I need to do right now.
Okay, so for the activity, Henry is the lead. Okay, I understand. I understand the feeling in the room. It's fine. For activity, Henry is the lead. Huh?
Yeah, go ahead, carry on.
For structure, Kelsey is the lead. For composition, Jan is the lead. You can understand my very complex algorithm. Look, you're the lead for dynamics. Lab work, Chris, Julie, you get a toss off.
I mean, there was a nice pattern you got there.
Actually, you know what? You volunteered last, John. There you go.
The one person knows the least about this.
But you don't have you being the lead doesn't mean that you write it.
Yeah, I know.
No good deed goes unpunished. It means that you get to tell other people to write it.
There you go. Observations.
Yeah, I'll just add that to my dissertation.
What do we have here? Matthew or Mike, who wants to be the primary there? Or someone else? Charles, there you go. Saved. Saved by the Charles.
Charles in charge. Yeah. I'm sure you never hear that.
That was there.
Totally new. Totally new.
It was there. Okay, for the exploration concepts. No, I'm not the primary in any subsection. Well, you said dictator. You said dictator rules, right? Exactly. I can be the primary in that. Actually, what I'll do is I'll rope Maria as well, because we're gonna be the main document editors as well. So. Okay. So it's 12:30 now. I guess it's easier for the people in the room who are lumped together. There's a lot of room right now. There's a lot of space in the room. I would suggest sit together and start writing. What I mean by that, it's probably the easiest is to start with like a straw man thing. What would the structure of that section look like? Ideas you want to put in there. Okay, so brainstorming basically for these things. And if you're in several groups, just pick one. Or run really fast. All right? Sorry?
Glad people here.
So again, as I said, you can work through the high priority questions we had and incorporate them in the sections in the way, I mean, a version of that in the way you feel works best. Did anybody see the assigned groups?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take me a few minutes now to send everybody emails. So yes, Cody.
Just a comment from Joanna.
Yes.
Thanks to you all for making online participation possible and actually enjoyable. Gotta go.
Thank you, Joanna. Just watch out for your assignment. An email will be forthcoming. Yes, Kelsey.
I have to leave in about 15 minutes. So structure people have comments, please feel free, and then we can continue later. Yeah, I know.
Henry, grab some activity people.
Or you can stay here for like 5 minutes and then go over there. Yeah.
For the online participants, if you want to join the discussion in the room, you can be unmuted. There you go.